That is the characteristic of a munafiq. To know. What is one of the characteristics of a munafiq? And everyone has heard this from Shaykh Effendi. Prophet ﷺ, to begin sohbat, when he was going to begin a sohbat, to speak, he says, Bismillah. Just as he's about to begin to connect to something, you see one munafiq, one hypocrite, sitting, praying, eating, worshipping, making zikr. When he's about to start to make the connection, you see that hypocrite standing up. Slowly getting up, walk from one point to go to another point to sit down, to cut it off, to interfere. And he has to sit and swallow and be patient. He's reconnecting again, about to start. Another one gets up, walking slowly to go to another part and to sit down. What is the action there? It is to disrupt. It is a sign of a munafiq. Don't look around. Don't see others. Look at yourself to see when a sohbat is going to happen. What happens to you? Are you watching yourself? There is a time suddenly you have to cough, you have to clear your throat, you have to scratch this, you have to do that. You have to move, you have to interfere, you have to do something. When you see that happening often enough, then tell yourself, stop. Don't move. Nothing is going to happen. So to continue, inshallah, sit down. See, still making a show. Never in all these years is sitting like that. Never. During a sohbat, now he's making a show because there are other people here. That's okay, we're going to deal with him later. So, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We're asking support from our Shaykh, inshallah, to send us something that is going to give us benefit, dunya and akhirah. The days of Ramazan is fast approaching, alhamdulillah. Like this or like that, in a few weeks, less than 2 weeks, we're going to welcome the month of the Prophet. That is going to pass, then we're going to welcome the month of the Ummah. The month, this is our month, the month of the nation of the Prophet. We're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to lengthen our life, inshallah, to welcome the Ramazan and to be able to worship properly and to fast properly, to think properly, and to be in the Dergah, to be worshipping sincerely. Last few days of the month of the Prophet, we have to be careful because the Ramazan, it is the month of harvesting. You're going to harvest what you planted and how you have cultivated it. The month of Rajab is when you plant it. The month of Shaban is when you give it a water and you cultivate it. And the Ramazan is when you see the results. How are you going to see the results? Look where you are with the fasting. Look where you are with the prayers. Look where you are with the dhikr, with yes, that is worship. That is one part of the fasting, isn't it? Worship. The fasting is worship. But the fasting itself, the action of the fasting, it is not going up and down. Is it? The fasting itself, it is an act of worship. But it is not like namaz. Which means that majority are looking for the month of Ramazan, that they're going to make extra worship, extra prayers, extra zikr, nafila ibadat, reading of the Quran, everything. Majority, they are concentrating only on this. But they're not concentrating on fasting. What it means to be concentrating on the fasting. Then you have to ask, what is the fasting? Is to stay away from food and the water? That is fasting. Majority are taking fasting to be like this, isn't it? How many times we hear from Chef and he's speaking about the adab of the fasting. What are you fasting from? It's easy to stay away from food and drink. He says, tie a dog there and don't give it food and drink. It's also fasting. So many, they're staying away from food and water. That is also fasting. But their intention is to lose weight, to be healthy, to be this, to be that. That is not fasting. Now then, what is the fasting that we have to look into? Yes, we're not going to go so much into say, oh, fasting of the normal people, fasting of this, fasting of that. No, this is for everyone. It concerns us. It is easy now to fast because, especially those who are keeping the fast of Rajab and Shaban, they're fasting in those months. Then entering into the month of Ramazan, it is very easy. It is not going to be such a shock to your system or to your mind or to your understanding or to your body. But what it means now, the fasting in this month of Ramazan, it is not the fasting of an animal. No, it is a fasting, it is the control, it is a stepping on the most major part of yourself, which is what? It is our ego now we're talking about. Because of so many, they are fasting and they are worshipping nighttime. But they become the most angry people when they are fasting. They become the most impatient people when they are fasting. So when you are fasting, just staying away from food and water, it is very easy. And other kinds of activities, it is very easy. But the whole point of the fasting, it is to step on your ego. To say to your ego, now I have control over you. The ego that wants to eat and to drink anytime that it wants. The ego that wants to engage in other kinds of things anytime that it wants. The eyes that want to see anything that it wants. The ears that hears anything. The food that, the tongue that tastes anything that it wants. Speaking anything it wants. Now the month of Ramazan coming. So now you start thinking that that fasting should not just be about food and drink. It is to purify everything that is in you. Purify your eyes and your ears and your tongue and your hands and your feet. Purify your body, purify your intentions. Then you're going to say, in other days, the ego, my ego is getting upset as it likes. Fasting, you should not be. It gets jealous for no reason. The month of Ramazan, you're fasting, you're going to take a step back. Other kinds of characteristics, the arrogance especially, and the stubbornness, and the jealousy. Now you're going to look. That time, that fasting becomes a worship. That fasting is not just staying away from food and water, and it is separate from the worship. It becomes a worship. We are coming into the month of Ramazan. That's why we are speaking like this. Because now whatever that we're planted in the month of Rajab that is growing now, we want it to give a good fruit. So that now our fasting in the month of Ramazan will become a worship. It is not just a physical activity that we are doing. Inshallah, may we enter strong. And inshallah Rahman, may the blessings of all these 3 holy months stay with us during Ramazan and after the Ramazan, to sustain us until the year. You look, people are very knowledgeable about the whole calendar, this illusion and delusion calendar. But they're not looking at the whole calendar of Islam and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put all these holy days and nights. Just as you are you're finishing one holy night and your energy is so high, then it gets a little bit lower, 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 lower. Before it hits too low, there's another holy event that is happening, and it gives you another opportunity now to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and your faith now increases. Ramazan we're about to enter, because Rajab, Shaban and Ramazan now everything is concentrated. It's going to collect and it's going to peak. After Ramazan, let's finish. Before 3 months, we're going to have what? The Qurban. That is going to happen. Another time now, we're going to enter a very holy season that is going to keep us now prepared. It's going to keep us prepared. Fasting in the month of Ramazan, complete one huge obligation in our religion. Then the Hajj, another huge obligation. And the Hajj, of course, Eid al-Fitr with the Zakat is also connected. Now we're looking at fulfilling very quickly the majority of our obligations in Islam. You finish the Qurban, before you know it, left and right, you're turning, and we enter into the new year of Muharram. Then you enter into the holy time of Ashura. So believers should look. After this, alhamdulillah, after this is Ramazan. After Ramazan is going to be Eid. After Eid is going to be this, is going to be this. So you're looking forward to something. You're not looking forward to what is after Christmas season. Then you're going to have Valentine's Day. Okay. After Valentine's Day, what are you going to have? Easter. Then after Easter, what do you have? Memorial Day. Memorial Day, then you enter into the summer. Then they're teaching us this schedule, and we are arranging ourselves according to this schedule in this dunya, whether we like it or we don't, isn't it? But we are putting the schedule of Allah very far away from us. We shouldn't, inshallah. May Allah keep us to be the ones who are holding and giving value to time, and not to waste it, and to put it high, inshallah, to make us to become better ones. Wa min Allahu tawfiq al-Fatiha.